Welcome to CBSE English Teacher. Let's look at the line-by-line explanation of the lesson The Portrait of a Lady by Khushwant Singh for Class 11 English. Let's begin with the lesson now. My grandmother always went to school with me because the school was attached to the temple. The priest taught us the alphabet and morning prayer. While the children sat in rows on either side of the veranda, singing the alphabet or the prayer in a chorus, my grandmother sat inside reading the scriptures. When we had both finished, we would walk back together. This time, the village dogs would meet us at the temple door. They followed us to our home, growling and fighting with each other for the chapatis we threw to them. When my parents were comfortably settled in the city, they sent for us. That was a turning point in our friendship. Although we shared the same room, my grandmother no longer came to school with me. I used to go to an English school in a motor bus. There were no dogs in the streets, and she took to feeding sparrows in the courtyard of our city house. Scriptures are the sacred writings of a religion. Growling means making a low guttural sound in the throat, and courtyard means veranda. His grandmother would accompany him to the school as the temple was attached to the school and she used to visit the temple daily. On one hand, he would sit on the veranda with other children, would sing the alphabet and prayers in the chorus. On the other hand, she would sit in the temple to read the scriptures. After finishing, they would walk back home together. The village dogs met them at the temple door. They would follow them to their home, growling and fighting with each other for the stale chapatis that she fed them. When his parents got settled in the city, they called them. That was the turning point of his friendship with his grandmother. They shared the same room, but she no longer would give him company to his school. He started going to an English medium school and a motor bus would come to pick and drop him. There were no dogs in the streets whom she could feed as she did in the village. So she started feeding sparrows in the veranda of their house. As the years rolled by, we saw less of each other. For some time she continued to wake me up and get me ready for school. When I came back, she would ask me what the teacher had taught me. I would tell her English words and little things of Western science and learning. The law of gravity, Archimedes' principle, the world being round, etc. This made her unhappy. She could not help me with my lessons. She did not believe in the things they taught at the English school and was distressed that there was no teaching about God and the scriptures. One day I announced that we were being given music lessons. She was very disturbed. To her, music had lewd associations. It was the monopoly of harlots and beggars, and not meant for gentlefolk. She said nothing, but her silence meant disapproval. She rarely talked to me after that. Years rolled by means time passed. Distressed means suffered from extremely sorrow, anxiety or pain. Lewd association means indecent or obscene. Harlots means prostitutes. And gentlefolk means people of noble birth. As the years passed in the city, their interaction reduced. For some time, she continued to wake him up and would get him ready for school. She would ask him what he had learned in the school that day. The scientific terminology and English words made her unhappy. As she didn't know the language, she couldn't help him with the lessons. As his new school never taught him about God and religious scriptures, this made her sad. She did not approve of such an education. When she came to know that he was getting music lessons, it disturbed her. According to her, music was indecent and it was an art for the beggars and prostitutes and not for those belonging to decent families. She didn't like that he learnt music, so she stopped talking to him. When I went up to university, I was given a room of my own. The common link of friendship was snapped. My grandmother accepted her seclusion with resignation. She rarely left her spinning wheel to talk to anyone. From sunrise to sunset, she sat by her wheel, spinning and reciting prayers. Only in the afternoon, she relaxed for a while to feed the sparrows. While she sat in the veranda, breaking the bread into little bits, hundreds of little birds collected round her, creating a veritable bedlam of chirpings. Some came and perched on her legs, others on her shoulders, some even sat on her head. She smiled but never shooed them away. It used to be the happiest half hour of the day for her. Snapped means break suddenly or completely. Seclusion means the state of being private or away from the people. Accepted her seclusion with resignation means the grandmother accepted a lonely life as she accepted the separation from her grandson without objection. Spinning wheel. It is a household machine with a wheel attached to it for spinning yarn. A veritable bedlam of chirping refers to the noise and confusion caused by the chirpings of the sparrows. Veritable. It is used to describe something which is very interesting or unusual. Bedlam means confusion. Chirping. It is the noise of a small bird. Perched means rested on something. Shooed means to make a person or animal go away by shouting or saying shoo. As the author went to university, he had a room of his own. The common link of his friendship with his grandmother that they had when they shared the same room was changed now, and thus his friendship with her ended. She became more private and spent her whole day spinning wheel. From sunrise to sunset, she would sit and silently recite her prayers. In the afternoon, she used to feed sparrows in the veranda. Breaking the bread into small pieces, she would feed hundreds of birds. The birds would gather around her. Some sat near her, some on her legs, some on her shoulders, and few on her head. She never shooed them, but always smiled. She was the happiest in that half an hour during the whole day.